From headlines to heartbeats, this is More Than News with Chris Moore. Buckle up for a journey beyond the surface, where we uncover the real stories shaping our world.
Hey there, it is Chris Moore with More Than News podcast. We are so glad you are joining us today. And I've got a special guest in studio, Kathleen Kirwan Haynie. Kathleen and I have been friends for a lot of years, and she has got such a special story that she is going to be sharing with us today. But first, let's just let you introduce yourself and all the many things she does. Kathleen?
Well, thank you. I always love coming to visit with you because it is talking to a friend.
It is, yes.
And I love that. But Chris, I think I come to talk to you every October.
You do, every October, because it is very important. What you've accomplished and what your life path has been with your brother is very touching.
Well, I appreciate that. October is National Down Syndrome Awareness Month. It was also my brother's birthday, October 28th. My brother was Daniel Christopher Kirwan, and he was born on October 28th, 1968. And, I lost Daniel in 2015, but it just never stops amazing me that our bond still exists. It never stops. And, I always kind of think that, maybe this year it's going to be different. Maybe this year it won't be as deep of a bond, or maybe this year it won't hurt as much that he's gone, but it is still as deep as it ever was. We were very, very close. A lot of people thought we were twins growing up.
Really?
Yeah. We experienced a lot of milestones together. Mm-hmm. He was 2 years older than me, and he was delayed, being that he was Down syndrome, and so we learned to do a lot of things together. We learned to swim together. We learned to ride bikes together. He was always told that he wouldn't do a lot of things.
Right.
But my parents didn't believe that he couldn't do things. They always said, you can do that. And Daniel always, said, yeah, I will do that. And so we learned to do a lot of things together. We learned to read together. And he was like a local celebrity. Everybody knew him.
He liked to run.
He was a runner. He was a great athlete.
Yeah.
And so he was honestly the joy of the Kirwan family. And even after he passed away, we still hold a very special bond.
Of course. Well, let's talk about his journey through life. You did talk briefly just now about being born with Down syndrome, but having such a positive outlook. But later in life, he got ill.
Yes.
And let's go through that journey.
So Daniel began having some kidney issues. He volunteered at a nursing home 5 days a week, every morning. That was his special passion and purpose in life. And he loved all of the residents at the nursing home, and they loved him. And that was his purpose in life. But he began having kidney issues. And so it was actually from a fungus medication, of all things, fungus on his toe that he had. Really? He was otherwise healthy. He had no other health issues. He was an exercise fanatic. He was a health nut. We ate very healthy. My dad was a marathon runner. And so otherwise, he had no other health issues. And this kidney issue became very serious. And we asked, could he maybe be a candidate for a kidney transplant? We were told no. And the reason was because he was Down syndrome. And that was a very hard pill to swallow. He suffered for many, many years and was kept off dialysis for over 12 years, which was unheard of. And still kept a very sunny attitude, still went to the nursing home, still ran every day. And finally, dialysis was just too hard on him. After 3 years, he could not tolerate it anymore, and passed away in 2015.
But what have you done since then? I know you have fought so long and so hard and made a big triumph for other folks that have Down syndrome. So let's talk about that.
So in 2021, I visited Brooks Landgraf, Odessa representative.
Yes, state representative.
And, I met him when I was an Alzheimer's advocate. My mother had Alzheimer's. And I specifically went to Representative Landgraf because I knew he had an aunt that was very, very dear to his heart who had Down syndrome. And, let him know that Daniel was never given a fair chance at life because he was Down syndrome and otherwise healthy, and said, what do you think about this? It's unethical. And he immediately said, let's change this. And so went through all the legislative process, testified in both the Texas House and the Texas Senate. And now it is a law that everybody, despite disability, has a fair chance at life when it comes to organ transplants.
We'll talk about that a little bit more in depth, about how you had to do this fight and the roadblocks that you had to jump over in order to get this passed.
It was really up to the doctors that you would visit if they valued life or not. One night I was actually looking at Facebook and I saw that a past student of mine, that's a very dear young man who happened to have Down syndrome also, was getting a kidney transplant. And I was in shock and thought, wow, good for him. But why didn't Daniel have the same chance? And it was simply because he went to a doctor that was more progressive, that valued lives of special needs people. And I thought, everybody in Texas should have a fair chance. If somebody is not a good candidate, if they have other health issues,
Exactly.
I understand. I do understand.
Sure.
But Daniel never was given a chance to test. We had 2 sisters and 2 brothers. We all wanted to test to see if we could be a candidate. We were always told no. And it was crushing to see him suffer all those years. And I do believe he would still be here today. And I know he was in good health. He had no other health issues. And so, it was very difficult. Sometimes people do play God. I mean, it is up to their decisions.
The doctor's decision.
The doctors and the transplant hospitals as well. And so I will tell you, this past Texas, nobody voted against it in either the House or the Senate. And it has since passed New Mexico. Someone reached out to me and said, do you know anybody in New Mexico? We need to pass this law in New Mexico. I found somebody who had adopted children that were Down syndrome from other countries, and she was the perfect person to champion this law in New Mexico. We actually, it's kind of a God wink, grew up in New Mexico, Daniel and I. We spent every summer there,
right.
Every holiday, and so I wanted to make sure New Mexico had the same law in place as well. Mm-hmm. Now this law is pending federally, and so every state should have the same rights.
When might this go through? So it is a law in Texas and in New Mexico?
In many states, yes.
Okay.
This law was a law in California in 1996. And so it has taken all this time, and not every state still has this law. And so it has passed Congress. Congressman Pfluger has voted for this law in Congress, and it's pending in the Senate right now. It's called the Charlotte Woodward Act. Senator Cruz
why
knows about
Charlotte
it.
Woodward?
That's a great question. Charlotte Woodward is a wonderful self-advocate. She is a Down syndrome young lady.
Okay.
And she is amazing. She's a college graduate, and she is very well-spoken young woman who is advocating for a better chance at life for other people with special needs.
That is incredible. So when will this come up to vote?
You know,
this election cycle?
yes, it's coming up soon. I'm not sure when it will be in the Senate, but we have made sure that Senator Cruz is aware. So, you know, if he hopefully is still in office, he has been told, we need you to vote yes, and we will continue advocating until every person has that fair chance of life. And again, if, you know, anybody is not a good candidate, we understand if they have other health issues and it's not good for them to get a transplant. We understand that's for anybody, whether they're special needs or not.
Well, I know when both my brother died, he was 31, and my mother died at 61, I believe. But we donated their organs, what were viable.
Right.
And as someone that donated organs from their loved one to help people, it's kind of infuriating.
Yes.
Whenever someone like your brother needed it and was denied for no reason.
Right.
So it is amazing that you were able to get this even passed here in Texas and other states along with that. I want you to kind of real quick, like if you can turn that picture around so that they can see. She is showing a picture of her brother. Now, who is the gentleman with? It looks like Lyle Lovett, even though I know it's not.
Yeah. So I think this is one of the residents in a nursing home. So Daniel handed out tea and water on the beverage cart at the nursing home. That was his job.
Uh-huh.
And he cleaned off the tables as well. But his real job was just to share his love, his, smiles, his hugs. And he greeted everybody every day. And he loved it. That was his purpose.
And they loved him.
And they loved him.
So you're just giving me goosebumps. When you have such a wonderful young man that did so much for the community and was denied this, it is very heartbreaking. I know his birthday, as you said, is coming up on the 28th.
Yes.
What are y'all going to do to celebrating?
Well, every year I still honor him, and I still want to make a difference for people like him. And I do believe that we have a lot of work left to do, and they deserve a better quality of life. So October is not only National Down Syndrome Awareness Month, but it's also National Employment Disability Awareness Month. So tomorrow I'm going down to City Hall for City Council meeting, and we are doing a proclamation. So I know many of us oftentimes will see a special person that will carry out our groceries and things like that, maybe at Market Street.
Right.
But, they're just like we are, people with disabilities. They have strengths and weaknesses and interests.
Mm-hmm.
Some want to do hair, some want to work with horses. Some love working at the grocery store. But they want to do different things. And I want to urge the employers in our community to give them a chance. Hire them. Train them. They're great employees. They are reliable. They show up. They take their job seriously.
Yes.
But we need more employers that will take a chance and give them that opportunity. Daniel was probably the best one that they had at the nursing home. He was always there, rain or shine.
Mm-hmm.
He loved it. And just like you said earlier, they loved him too. And so more and more, I'm going to use Diamondback as an example. They have their Rolling Baristas program, and MISD partners with Diamondback. So Wednesdays and Thursdays, Midland High and Legacy High has students come that have disabilities, and they learn to be baristas. So they serve coffee, but not only are they learning vocational skills, they're also learning social skills, and they love the program. and it is a wonderful opportunity. And it's not only great for the students, but it's great for the employees. They're learning how to interact with people that are a little bit different, but they're also learning these students really aren't that different.
Now, you mentioned California earlier on how they had already enacted back in '96 the law that anybody could get organ transplant,
right,
if they were healthy enough.
Yes.
So how many states are involved in this Employee Act?
Many states do opportunities like this.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's nationwide that this is National Disability Employment Month. And it really is just to, show nationwide that special needs people have so much purpose. They are able, and we've got to give them the opportunity. They can do so much more than what we give them credit for.
And I really want to brag on her. Like I said, I've known her for quite a few years, and she's kind of carried this on because Kathleen works in the nonprofit field here in the Permian Basin. So tell them what you do currently.
I'm Executive Director of Senior Life Midland, and we have 8 programs for seniors, both active and homebound.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest program is Meals on Wheels. And, to tie in with our discussion today, we have 5 groups who have disabilities that deliver Meals on Wheels. And honestly, they are probably our most reliable group. They love delivering Meals on Wheels. They're always cheerful. They are there every time they are scheduled. And Friendship House, for example, they deliver 4 days a week. And now they have started helping out in our kitchen 1 day a week.
How about that? So she has taken this and implemented it with her own personal business, which is a nonprofit for the elderly. And look how much joy they're bringing so many people continuing. So what you're doing is incredible. She's got one of her friends, Tracy, over here. She's our cheering squad in the back, but she also works for Senior Life Meals on Wheels. So what can people do to help with either one of these?
That's a good question. We always need people to give opportunities. We need businesses, all kinds of businesses, to give people an opportunity, whether it's volunteering or paid opportunities. There are so many things. The hospital also has a new intern program for people with disabilities. They're working great with MISD. We want to have, now that we have more room in our kitchen at Senior Life Midland, we want to invite Bynum School to have a job coach come in with a couple of students to learn some kitchen skills. And so, we as a community need to be more open-minded. They can do lots of things. So there's lots we can do. And, maybe also be more patient as consumers. When you go to Whataburger and you see that somebody with special needs is at the window, be more patient, be more kind. We can all do that. I think that it starts with us.
It absolutely does. Now then, my next question before we wrap this up is, how can they get more information? Let's say you've got a loved one right now with Down syndrome, or you're wanting to get involved in your state with some of these programs. How can they get more information? You want me to give them your phone number and they just call you direct, or is there like a website? I was kidding about that. But, is there like a website or something people can go to get more information?
Well, there are so many good local organizations that they can reach out to. 211 is always a great resource. Right. PB Connect through United Way is a great resource. Share is a wonderful resource a lot of people don't know about. It's a lot. Recently, I have been on a panel for Share, and it is giving respite to parents with children with special needs, just so they can get out and have a little bit of time to themselves. There are so many good resources in our community. And so reach out, and if people do have questions and how can they be involved? How can I learn to advocate? Do call me at Senior Life Midland. I am happy to help.
And they have great social media. We were discussing that earlier. So you can find them over on Facebook, Senior Life Midland. You can also Google them and get their website. And if you need any kind of more information on this for Down Syndrome Awareness Month or the employee bill, that is disability bill that they're working on right now, or if you're wanting to get involved in the Senior Life program itself, there's so many ways you can give back. But I really have to thank you because her fight for her brother and what she has accomplished here in Texas and over in New Mexico and looks like other states, you are a champion. What a heart. And I wish I could have met Daniel. The more I hear about him,
he would love you, that's for sure. He always loved the pretty girls, Chris.
Well, he was a cute boy. He was a cute boy. So, Kathleen, thank you so much for what you do and for taking some time for us today.
Well, thank you. I always appreciate your interest, and you are always a champion. I thank you very much.
Of course, of course. Well, we want to thank you for joining us. Again, if you have any questions on this topic, you can look it up online. We'll have some more additional information with the link to the show today, or you can look up Senior Life Midland. You've been listening to More Than News on your favorite podcast platform. Be sure and register and subscribe. Thanks, and we'll talk to you next time.
You've been listening to More Than News with Chris Moore. Join us next time as we continue to dig deeper, ask tougher questions, and bring you the insights that truly matter.